Hello, Angela.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on to the Holistic Business and Life Mastery podcast. We're so grateful to have you. Look at that. There's
I love
fireworks happening.
it.
Oh man. Hey, I'm so grateful that you made this time for us. You're in a different time zone, and we're here in Australia. Loving that you could make the time to chat to us about what you're really great at, which is digital marketing. So
Yes.
I would love for you to share a bit about your background for our listeners and how you want us to connect with you after this show, and what can you help people with? Just give us a little rundown of what do our people need to know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to be able to communicate with your audience and connect with everyone. Actually started in the digital marketing space as a makeup artist, but my makeup job was actually just kind of like a side hustle. I had a full-time job. My husband was working full-time. I was online doing makeup. And then two major things happened in my life. One thing is that I lost my full time job in a two-sentence email. The
Oh,
second thing, yes. The second thing that happened is that I got into a very serious car accident and I was no
OMG.
longer able to use my arm. So both of these major things happened within the same year. So on the one hand, I decided that, hey, I am not going to allow anyone else to ever decide how much I get paid, if I get paid, and when I get paid. So
Mm,
that was the point that I said, okay, I'm going to take this makeup business, I'm going to pivot it because I can't use my arm anymore.
yeah.
And we are going to create a digital marketing business that brings in livable income. And so that's kind of like how I got started in the digital space. So I went from um, being a makeup artist to helping other makeup artists, other digital creators learn how to create content and
Wow.
messaging that resonated with their audience and their followers so that they could really optimize Instagram to its highest degree.
That is cool. That is, firstly, I'm so happy that you are here and all both your arms are working now, and
Yes,
you're
thank
you're
you.
making that impact in the world, doing what you're meant to be doing, obviously. Um, and how this is really purposeful is that most of our audiences are also doing in-person service-based businesses,
Mm-hmm.
so holistic professionals, beauty industry, we're all a part of this one self-care, wellness sort of an industry space, right?
Yes.
So how would you say like digital marketing helped your clients or you still sustain a income, after all the changes that you saw happen to you?
Yeah, for sure. I always say that digital marketing is what saved me because I didn't have I could no longer lean on or use as a crutch, as you say, my full-time job. The digital marketing business had to work. And
Mm,
so that's when I started to grow the business from the ground up to now multiple six figures in the
wow.
online space. And it has really helped other women to make thousands and thousands of dollars within their businesses as well. And so, using the digital marketing space to bring the time freedom for myself and for my clients, and then also the financial freedom that comes with being able to have a business where you set your prices, where you control the amount of money you make, and where there is no cap on the amount of
Mm.
money you can make has been really a game changer.
Wow, that's so inspiring to hear because you're on the other side of the world, and
Mhm.
we are here in Australia. So tell us a little bit about being in Mexico. How does that serve you to... I know your story, but I think the listeners need to hear this.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
because of digital marketing and being able to work anywhere in the world, after we both lost our jobs, we
Mm.
decided to, hey, take a one-way plane ticket to Mexico. And so that's exactly what we did. So fast forward now, we've been here for about 3 years. I'm going to be going into 4 years here in Mexico. And it has just been an adventure. It's been so much fun, and just being able to get out of kind of like that hamster wheel, that rat race of the 9 to 5, and really being able to live in a place where life is a lot slower, it's a lot simpler, but it's just so much more peaceful.
Wow. Mm. Where were you living before that? US.
Yep, in the United States, Michigan.
Okay. I've never been to the US, so I mean I would love to go.
Yeah,
But tell us, is there a lot of chaos there as we expected from this side of
in
the
the
world?
United States.
Yeah.
I think there's chaos all over the world, right? Right now, it's
Yeah.
like chaos is everywhere.
Yeah.
But what it was for us when we lived in Michigan, the weather was a big factor. So we lived in a state that is predominantly very cold and is pretty gloomy for most part of the year. And so being able to live in Mexico where it's warm, it's sunny every day, and
Wow.
then we get to be so close to nature really has been a pivotal change in like my physical health, my emotional health, right, my psychological health. So
Yeah.
just being able to make that move has really just helped me to thrive in so many different ways, which living in Michigan wasn't horrible.
Mm.
However, I can totally see the difference living here in Mexico, especially when it's like warmer weather. Don't have to worry about, the coats, the hats, the gloves, the boots,
Yeah.
and ice and snow.
Totally
Yeah,
get that. And I'm so proud of you for prioritizing your health and well-being
that's it.
while running a successful business, because so many of us forget that it's possible to do that. And
Mm,
that's something that I personally very much value, especially having been in a corporate career to start with. Felt like my soul was somewhere else,
mm,
and
yeah,
yeah, and as women, as female entrepreneurs, we tend to prioritize others a lot more than ourselves, right? But unless, of course, we get modeled and we get shown how to do it, it sort of becomes it's sort of the norm to self-sacrifice and do
yeah,
business. Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that you are benefiting by making those choices, and warmer weather is my favorite too, by any day. Yeah. Yeah.
How is the
Give me
weather over there
sunshine.
now?
So we are pretty lucky in Australia. We don't get much snow or anything like that unless you're
Oh,
down
okay,
south.
good.
But
Hmm.
I'm up, so it's not that cold. We're in winter at the moment, but I'm wearing a singlet and a denim jacket, which is proof to you, right?
Yeah, pretty light. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
good. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you can do both, right? So many
Yes.
women, like you said, they go through life and they feel like they have to choose either this or that, or they have
Yeah.
to sacrifice something. And it's like, well, no, not necessarily, right? If you're very intentional on the moves that you're making and why you're doing it, you really can have both.
I love that you said that. So this is exactly what alignment is about, right? So
Mhm.
it's all possible because some of the things that I think as a beginner in our industry, we can sort of start to think that, oh, I can only do it this way. I can't have it any other way. And there's so many voices that are guiding in their own way. So one of
Mhm.
the things that I love to promote is aligning to your vision and not, somebody else's or the cookie cutter way. Um, so does that ring a bell with your market as well? Is that something that you promote as well, that you get to have it your way? And
Yes, and I'm really big with my clients on making sure that they prioritize self-care. In fact, in our
same.
community, every Friday, I'm like, hey, what are we doing for self-care? You've been pouring into everyone else all week. How are you pouring back into yourself? And sometimes with just that simple reminder, it makes a person or a woman, reset and say, oh, yeah, let me think about what I need to do for myself. And sometimes what people don't realize is that the more money you make, the more self care you need. And so sometimes you see millionaires and they're out there
Yes.
playing golf or they're in their
Yeah.
pools and you look at them and you're thinking, well, wow, he's living such a lavish life. All he does is play golf or no, like you need to do that.
You need to do
Like,
that.
the more money you make, the more time you really need to focus on your self-care,
Mm.
and stand in alignment and making sure that your bandwidth isn't being pulled too strong or in too many different ways.
I love that reminder. That is such good values. So I think like, this part of our chat just goes to show how values matter in this journey to creating that
Mm-hmm.
financial freedom through having your own business.
Yeah.
And before we move on to that technical stuff, which is why I'm here to, I'm here with you because I've got so much to learn from you as well as our audience do. Though, coming back to the value system of, trying to do everything by yourself and then look after your family, then look after your world, and then not neglecting yourself is not a sustainable plan, right? So
No.
I love that you reminded us of that. So this industry that I'm in, and you're also, I think we are similar because it's service-based businesses that, most women are shy of, being on social media or on a platform, showing up regularly, consistently, and promoting their services or themselves, positioning themselves. And what I hear a lot is that it's too much or it's just too much work. Um, I don't know how to figure this out. I never get any engagement, all sorts of,
Mm.
there's a long grocery list of why not versus doing it. So today I wanted to have you give us like, what are some of the underrated, like unspoken values of actually doing digital marketing and using digital marketing in our business. So what don't people know that they need to know?
Yeah, so especially when it touches on your thought about, a person being shy, the one thing that you have to realize is that it's okay to be shy and you can still make a lot of money being shy. And just because you're shy doesn't mean that people won't like you, won't follow you. Because a lot of times what we see or feel on social media is that, it's almost like the loudest mouth, right? The most enthusiastic person, the most outgoing person who's dancing in the reels and,
Yeah.
doing all these tricks and things is the person who's going to succeed. But that's not necessarily the case. Like there is a huge place for people who are shy or a little bit more introverted in the online space because there are people who are going to connect with you because of that the shyness that you have, right? Or the
Mm.
docilness that you have. And so there is a place for you in the digital marketing world. And so I don't want you to ever, if a person who is listening is shy, I don't want you to feel like there's no space for you because there's a lot of space for you.
Oh, that just saves my soul because, that uniqueness and the authenticity that is kind of, I think we're missing that in social media world a
Yeah.
lot of the times. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what I've found work for me all the time, like throughout when I started using social media, which was like 2017, maybe that's when I got on there. And I had no strategy. I had no agenda. I was just like, well, everybody's doing it. I'm going to do it. I just got on
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook. But soon I realized actually I need to have sort of a direction, in how I do things. Um, Even if I'm not trying to go viral, that wasn't my goal. In fact, like all I wanted to do was just seem relevant to my people.
Yeah.
And it's something that I guess a lot of my peers at that time saw as, oh, so, you're really good at social media and I'm not. And then there's this divide. So what do we need to know about this advantage that we can have to communicate with our community in a different way? What's some of the things that is not being spoken of at the moment that they need to know?
Well, I feel like there are a couple of things when it comes to like social media strategy um,
Hmm.
and being on social media, especially if you're maybe a new person, a beginner, someone who's striving to hit your first $100,000, is that even if you're shy, even if you're a beginner, um, your follower count doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah. We need some fireworks with that. Yes.
Where are the fireworks? Yes, your follower count just does not matter. Especially in the beginning. Like you can make sales with a small following. I was able to make over $260,000 on
No
Instagram
way.
with like 3,000 followers. I did
Wow.
not have 10,000 followers to make multiple six figures within the business. And um, so that I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people just aren't talking about, is that you do not need a large following to make a lot of money on Instagram. And to your point, and we'll talk about this probably a little bit later, is that there are people with a lot of followers who just don't make any money, right? And
Right?
so what I like to encourage a person who may be shy, just starting on Instagram, trying to get your first 100,000, is to not rely on your followers for sales. I
Yeah.
want you to rely on your skill of selling to make sales, because your skill, um, how advanced it is what's going to actually make you money on Instagram versus whether or not you have a small following or a large following.
That's perfect. I mean, from personal experience, like I've been in this industry for 16 years. Uh, Income is not dependent on who's liking your posts, who responds to you straight away. It's always what they're hearing, what they're connecting with, and if I'm actually sharing something of value that they can act upon, right? That's what I've found.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've noticed a lot of, well, I want to share a story of what I experienced like in the last year. So after COVID happened, a lot of people went online, with their services.
Yeah.
So especially with classes and courses and things like that. So I ended up joining a couple of people that I know in the industry to experience their services, right? And what I noticed is that there's no uh, sense of, being taken care of. From the get-go, it's just like, okay, it's like a shop almost instead of being a service provider. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that difference in approach in how they're showing up in social media. So it's
Yeah.
like, look at me, I can do this. And then what do I do with that information? If I don't know you, what do I do with what you're showing me? And
Mm-hmm.
just give you a like and walk away, right? So I saw that is that there's no actual strategy or any kind of call to action from what they're posting, but they're posting every day. And then once I walk into their business, what I see is that the customer service is very poor. And, it's more
Mm-hmm.
like, well, you just pay for this session and then you turn up to the session. If you don't show up, then I'll send you a text. If you do show up, I don't send you anything. There's no communication, no nurturing going on. So the third thing I noticed is that they work really hard on posting on social media, but the numbers are very low. The the conversion is very low and retention is very low. So there's a lot of foundational things that are missing from, the actual environment needs. So what I really want to say is that we may be looking at others who are on social media and comparing ourselves to them, going, well, look at them, they're really good at this. They might be getting really good at getting clients through social media, but it's not actually that, it's not really the truth. Um, People are not buying from you or keeping on buying from you or working with you just because you have a social media presence. But I think it's an essential tool. Why is it an essential tool to be on social media in your opinion?
Oh boy, there's a lot of reasons to be on social media. For one, I feel like a social media presence leverages your expertise because of being able to post and you're able to share like your unique thoughts on things, you're able to
Mm,
share your core values on things, you're able to teach people your philosophies, your frameworks, your methods of doing things. And social media allows the space for a person to be able to do this freely. And so when it comes to just leverage in general, and setting you apart as an expert, your page is what's going to do that. Your social media page is what's going to do that.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So it's almost like a business card, right? Like you don't have
Yep,
to have I don't have a business card since
yep. A
that
website
long.
too. A website
Yeah.
too. For some who are just starting off, like you don't need a website. Like I don't even have a website, and I've made multiple six figures. I haven't needed a website or anything. My Instagram
Yeah.
page speaks for itself. It is the website. It gives a person all the information that they
Mm,
would need to know about me, my programs, services, who I am, what I do, and then just a little bit of my personality too, all
yeah.
on the one platform.
I love that. And so a lot of us in this space also talk about, oh, I just can't deal with the tech. The tech is too
Yeah.
scary. What have you noticed shifted
Oh,
when you had clients like that? Like, how do you help them shift that perspective?
yeah. So when it comes to dealing with the tech, really one big part is, are you are you that person who can do the tech? And a lot of us, especially when we're the ones who run the business, we're I would call us like visionaries. And so dealing with tech is a little bit challenging at times. But what I'll tell a person to do is, if you're dealing with tech and you're nervous about tech, really just, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time and also invest in learning skills that strengthen the areas of tech that you don't know about. Um, I think that once a lot of times a person's first inclination is to hire out for the tech, which that's not a horrible thing. However, I do feel like in the beginning, there are just things about your business that you need to
Mm,
understand how to run before you
yes.
hire it out, and really figuring out what is the strategy to this before I hire it out. How do I know if this person is doing it correctly or incorrectly? Right?
Yeah.
These are things that need to be known. And so if there's a part of the tech, if there's some tech that you're a little nervous about, just really just not sure about how to do it, then um, yeah, invest in learning how to strengthen
Yeah.
that skill, and then take your time, learn it, and also practice it. And once you get an idea of how things are supposed to run, you don't have to necessarily be the expert in tech, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't. That's not what you're selling, but at least understand the workings of your technology and the different platforms and apps and systems and processes that you use in your business. And then once you have that understanding, then later on, you know, you can go head on and hire it out.
Yeah, I love that. I really align with that as well because that's something that I wasn't so good at myself in the beginning,
Mhm.
where yeah, because we're technicians initially, right? We kind of like go into our business as the doer. So we
Mm.
jump into action much more naturally. So to kind of stop that for a bit, take a breather, step away from the wheel, and then think about where we are taking the bus it was very unnatural for me. So I had to learn that as a skill. Number one skill is like learning to not always take action and just stop the doing. Let's sit down and have a strategy in place or have a vision in place and have some plan to execute on to then have something to improve on instead of just doing and burning out, and
Yeah,
such
for
a such
sure.
a common tendency in our industry. And one of the other things is that with regards to this need for a good website, I've got this colleague slash prospect who is a holistic professional, has lots of skills, and yet, she's thinking of doing it part-time. So she's got an amazing website. Like this
Mm.
website looks amazing, like it's very stylish, very colorful, and really speaks volumes of what her style is, right? But then she's not available to work.
Yeah,
Right? She spent a lot of money on this thing. It's an asset that she's spent on, but then she's not really giving the time to serve people because there's no strategy. She hasn't enrolled clients in many days. Um, So there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's other misunderstandings that I hear about, oh, I need to build a clinic. I need to build a studio. I need to build this before I can do this. So can I just
mm,
pick your brain for a bit and ask you, what are the bare minimum essentials that this a professional needs these days to just go get their first 5 clients or even more?
Wi-Fi.
Why not?
Three
Why not more?
things.
Yeah.
Three things.
Yes.
Wi-Fi,
Yes.
right? A laptop,
Yeah.
and the knowledge within your own brain.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need to make sales. It's very it's simple. And of course, with the knowledge that you have in your brain comes the strategy, right? Comes the
Yeah.
mindset that you need to make a sale. But it's really, really simple, especially if you're on social media, especially maybe like Instagram, right? Um, Having that strategy where you're using all the different features or layers of Instagram, right? You're posting consistently, you're showing up in your stories, and you are having these conversations, not necessarily cold outreach, but you're having conversations with people who engage with you inside the DM. So you really don't need much more than that to make your first, $1,000, first five
Yeah.
thousand dollar month, first $10,000 month. Like you can use those simple strategies and just kind of build on it.
Yeah. And from my own personal experience, even though that's not a strategy that I use personally, because that's just my model of business, but then that is one strategy that you can use for generating new clients without a website, without any other
Yeah,
fancy tech, which is just learning to communicate, learning to connect with human beings that are interested in your service, right? And that's how easy it can be, except I think there's a lot of preconceived ideas about this tech world, and
yeah,
so thanks so much for making it so approachable for us and accessible for us. And this thing is this generation of business owners, like I call us the new generation of business owners, right? Like
yes.
like yourself, you went through something traumatic to come to the other end of having a really successful business, living life on your own terms, and you really transformed your own life. And, kudos to you. Now you get to share that success formula with us and others.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
We love that. And that's what we need more of now, instead of uh perhaps thinking, oh, business is for my grandfather and not me, or business is for that other person and not me. I find that a lot of us, we can teach each other how to do business differently using technology, using what is already free and
That's it.
accessible, to leverage into the next level of our profitability, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's easier than ever to make money in the digital marketing industry now. And Um, so it's like while the door is open, while the opportunity is there, I just encourage so many people just to continue. If you haven't stepped into it, to step into it. And then if you are in that space and just like you said, want to level up the business, then yeah, using these strategies that you just talked about, that I just talked about, is really going to help them to get there.
All right. Yeah, so life was lifing and we had to take a little pause, and thank you so much. Yeah, so well, with the questions that I just asked, I think what I wanted to just highlight to the listeners is that, you not using social media that is a free resource of new leads, that can turn into really high value customers, is a big opportunity loss or opportunity cost. Um, and yes, there's print media, there's all sorts of other types of advertising that we can do, but that all costs money and time. And, it takes time to see the response that you're getting too, right? So it only
Mhm.
makes sense to do digital marketing for getting your name out there, self out there, and reaching more people more easily, I guess, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that people are coming into these spaces ready to buy.
Mm,
Are millions of users on Instagram or any social media site for that matter every single day, and more buyer people are coming in as buyers.
yeah,
People are coming in and they're looking to spend money. They want to spend money.
that's
They're
it.
looking for coaches and services, and they want products. They are wanting these things. Like these different social media sites have really become like Google. People
Mm,
come in, they're searching certain things that they need, and then they're
yeah,
hiring, they're
exactly.
buying. Like it is a multi-million-dollar business. And so, yes, if you're not on any social media
Yeah,
platform, then
yeah,
there is money like literally just sitting on the table waiting on you to pick it up, because these social media platforms, they are free of charge, and people come in ready with their pockets wanting to buy your services. And if you're not on there, then there is a lot of money that you're just not making within the business when you could.
beautiful. Brilliant. If that doesn't put a fire under your tail, I don't know what would. Right.
Yeah.
Love the statistics. Yeah, so I think, we can wrap it up here if you're happy to, but can you let our listeners know where they can find you? What's the best place to find you on?
Yeah, so my name is the same on all social media sites. Um, it's Make Money Online with Angela.
Amazing.
And that's where you could find me on social media sites. My platform of choice though is Instagram. So you all can definitely come on Instagram. You can sign up for a free Instagram cheat sheet
Awesome.
where you'll learn exactly what I've been doing in order to monetize on Instagram, and you'll learn some tips and tricks and hacks for your own business as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your presence here. I am actually grateful to have met you at this time of our journey at Holistic Business Mastery, because we're about to launch and open up gates to having a cohort come in and start building our community of support and cheerleading and, that not education, so to speak, but really mentorship to people that are wanting to utilize these, tools and strategies that are there to help businesses accelerate their results.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's happening next week. We're going to start the launch and see everybody on the other side. I know, I'm so excited. And
Yeah.
yeah, and for those of you that are listening, Angela will be helping us as well. She will be a part of the cohort mentors that will also give guidance on this kind of stuff, hands-on coaching, mentoring.
Wow.
So we can't wait, for, just taking things one step at a time, but still taking the steps towards growth and improvements. So it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. But you got to start now, I say. Like, you've got to start
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I loved our chat here today, and we'll catch
Thank
up again soon.
you.
Wishing you a lovely evening over there in Mexico.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and everybody, thanks for listening. I appreciate you all.
You're so welcome. And listeners, I'm going to put all the show notes under this episode, as well as you can check out Angela on Instagram. Her handle will be down below this episode. And for now, take notes and catch up with you at the next episode. Bye for now.